Though there's no dearth of fantasy series in the world of anime and manga, Norihiro Yagi's Claymore still manages to be a completely original and captivating take on the popular genre. For the uninitiated, Claymore is a series that takes place on a fictional island in the medieval era where humans are being hunted down by humanoid shapeshifters known as the Yoma. Humanity's only hope against these murderous creatures is a shadowy organization that specializes in creating human Yoma hybrids to kill the strange psychotic demons. This group, however, is really bad at naming themselves, and they're known as just the organization. Though this has a kind of intriguing ring to it, it would be really nice if they gave away a bit more information. But don't take these guys for the heroes just yet, because we'll soon see that they have plenty of skeletons in their all-black closets. Well, I guess it falls upon us to reveal the secrets of this mysterious organization, and that's exactly what this marvelous video is all about. But before the hunt for the Yoma begins, please take a moment to hit the like and subscribe buttons. It's a small click for you, but to us, it means an awful lot. Now, without any further ado, let's dive in. The Shadowy Beginnings. What is the organization? The organization describes itself as a non-profit charity organization whose sole purpose is to completely annihilate Yoma. Despite this, the group doesn't really shy away from charging fees for its services, but the money often goes into highly essential resources. After all, hunting Yomas really takes a lot of effort. According to a theory put forward by Miria, the organization is a cover for a military intelligence and bio-warfare operation that has been sent to the island from the mainland by anti-dragon allies. There are no official names for this entity, but people often call it Claymore. History of the organization explored. The history of the organization is actually all over the place. As we already mentioned, its origins are assumed to be in an unknown location on the mainland, which is beyond the scope of the island world. The group has undergone numerous changes during its time on the island. They started out with an initial male era, which hasn't been claimed by any of the official generations. The first male, number 1, Isley, is said to have awakened voluntarily and would eventually become the abyssal one of the north. This is not the only case of males awakening prematurely, as many years later, Paburo Hunt met a male ex-Claymore warrior known as the Paburo Awakened. Miria revealed that the premature awakenings of the male Claymores were the reason the organization completely halted the creation of male warriors. The first generation then replaced the male warriors with females. Riefel, the first female warrior, would also awaken and become the abyssal one of the West. The next generation, known as the Old Generation, is divided into two eras, Luciella and Teresa. In the Luciella era, a controlled awakening experiment involving non-identical sisters, Luciella and Rafaela, led to a massacre, as Luciella awakened and went on a rampage, murdering over half the warriors and trainees. This almost destroyed the entire organization, and Luciella became the abyssal one of the South. Following this incident, the organization collected many identical twins for a second controlled awakening experiment with a pair of twins, Alicia and Beth, who became number 1 and 2. The Teresa era was also marked by its fair share of problems and violence. When the number 1 Teresa left Claire with her foster family in Rocut, she had no clue that the village would be wiped out by a group of bandits. As you can expect, Teresa executed the bandits, but in doing so, she broke the cardinal rule of the organization, as killing humans is strictly not acceptable. Due to these actions, warriors number 2 through 5 were sent to find and purge Teresa. While killing Teresa, the team leader Priscilla would awaken, and warriors number 1 through 5 were lost. Rafaela, who had been exiled during the Luciella arc, was then reinstated as number 5. The current generation is also pretty turbulent, and one of the most notable events is the Battle of the North, where the Pieta Hunt was destroyed by the Northern Army. During this time, Alicia and Beth also managed to defeat the Northern Army in Sutaf. The next generation began with a 7-year time skip where the 7 survivors of the Battle of the North moved to the south. Meanwhile, Isley was also killed by Abyss feeders in Mucha. In Rabona, Tabitha was killed by Miria, who then traveled to the organization headquarters in order to end the group all by herself. She failed, however, when number 10, Rafutera, used a type of Yoma power harmonization to disorient and confuse her. Miria would then find her way to the Claymore Rebellion, and the organization found itself facing the greatest threat since Luciella. When the warriors entered the organization's executive chambers, they found them completely deserted. We would later learn that the organization fled its headquarters when Cassandra, Roxanne, and Hysteria awakened. In the aftermath of the battle, all known personnel were executed. Miria would eventually find a secret room where the specimen of the dragon's descendants was being held. This reveal confirms all of Miria's doubts about the organization's origins, but hold on, we've got a lot to get through before that startling reveal. The Puppet Masters, how the organization operates. Now, let's take a look at the process and mode of operation that has allowed the organization to persevere through all these generations. First, Yoma-infested towns contact the organization, which then dispatches a suitable number of Claymores to eliminate the threat. The only exception is the awakened beings, in which case an entire awakened being hunting party is sent out. After the job is completed, a black man collects the fee from the town. Any town that fails to make payments will be abandoned by the organization to be destroyed by the Yomas, but this is actually way darker than it seems. Teresa once mentioned that the organization itself might send Yoma to the villages that fail to make the payment. Even Dietrich mentioned that a town was destroyed soon after she saw the village chief and the man in black arguing over something. Later in the series, Deneve deduced that the mysterious group was actually creating male half-Yoma and half-human beings realize their terrifying schemes. Any Claymore who breaks the rules set down by the organization is purged, might even be sent out on suicidal missions. Forging warriors. The creation of Claymores. At this stage in the video, it's only natural to wonder, what the heck are these creatures known as Claymores? Well, Claymore is the name assigned to the greatest warriors of the organization. These fighters are usually orphan females who have to undergo an excruciating medical operation that leaves stigmata on their bodies from the neck down. Following this, the women are made to go through extremely rigorous training in order to learn the art of combat. The final stage is a test, where these candidates have to prove their mettle in front of the organization. The ones who make it through this long and arduous process are expected to be single-minded in their devotion to the organization and must stick to its laws no matter what. As the series progressed, it became increasingly evident that the organization actually orchestrated almost all of the incidents that happened to the chosen orphans, which led to the deaths of their parents at the hands of the Yoma. This is definitely one of the more disturbing reveals in the entire series, and it's believed that the organization committed these heinous acts to stimulate the mental emotions of the orphans. Now, that's a selection process that nobody wants to go through. The Watchful Enforcers, the hidden powers behind the organization. In order to truly understand the organization, it's necessary to take a look at the forces behind its administration. As far as we know, the ultimate authority in the organization is Chief Rimuto. His hold over the group is absolute. He's responsible for coming up with strategic tactics to counter all the anomalies and events that threaten the organization. Then there are the Handlers. They serve as messengers that communicate new orders and allocate equipment to soldiers. They are also known to monitor soldiers according to the organization's orders. However, their most important function is to collect the fees after a mission is carried out successfully. They can be easily identified using the all-black apparel they wear and are often referred to as the Men in Black. The Retrieval Squad is a division of the organization that's primarily responsible for collecting specimens like the flesh of awakened beings for further research. The Elders are arguably the most revered figures in this organization, and Rimuto happens to be the only known member of this. So far, he's the only one who's been seen interacting with the Handlers and Claymores directly while sending out orders. The group also employs a bunch of black-clothed guards who serve under the Elders. They are the only soldiers who receive commands directly from the upper echelons of the organization and also serve as the Elders' bodyguards. They're usually stationed at the main base of staff when the Claymores are spread across the island. These guards also supervise the training of new candidates and maintain complete control over the newbies. Even though they're trained as soldiers, they aren't actually very powerful, and most of the fighting is done by the Claymores. Despite this, they've proven themselves fast enough to take Raftella by surprise when they impaled her. Their chief weapon is the spear. The Conspiracy Unveiled, the rise and fall of the organization. Miria's hypothesis suggests that the organization is actually the true creator of the Yoma and the awakened beings. She also doubts that the island world of Claymore is actually a research center for the creation of awakened beings that can be put under control. She was also the first to reveal that there is a larger mainland beyond the ocean. On this unknown land, there's been an ongoing territorial dispute that has been going on for over a century. On one side, there are the Dragon's Kin, who are non-human creatures with extremely hard skin, while on the other, there's the organization. According to Miria, the organization was created to develop the awakened beings, which could then be used to win the war. Claymores are essentially part of their research and are supposed to awaken sooner or later. Initially, the male Claymores were sent to the battlefield where they encountered the Draconic Tribe. These initial experiments were unable to turn back into their human bodies once they assumed their Claymore forms. Thus, the male Claymores were abandoned on the battlefield until they were destroyed. Some, who found their way back to their bases, ended up destroying destroying their own sides. Thus, the organization was ordered to continue their experiments on the isolated islands where they could create awakened beings capable of reverting back to human. This progression resulted in Luciella and Raftella, who served as stepping stones for the creation of the Soul Link, Alicia, and Beth. Later in the series, Miria's hypothesis was proven correct during the organization's collapse, and Miria even discovered the secret facility that helped the half-dead remains of the Asaracon. Rymuto himself accepted that they were behind the creation of Yoma and the development of awakened beings could serve as super weapons. The head researcher and developer from the organization confirmed that, in their research, they found that hatred played a huge part in Claymores overall. The most powerful of Claymore could only be created when the orphan children possessed unimaginable hatred for the Yoma. Marvelous verdict! Organization is undoubtedly one of the most terrifying groups that we've seen in anime recently. They're masters at hiding their true intentions, and this makes them far more dangerous than any Yoma looking to devour you. The actions the organization has committed are extremely repulsive, but I guess that's what makes them such a fun antagonist. But what do you think of this mysterious group? Let us know your thoughts on them in the comments down below. Also, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button to stay up to date with all our most marvelous content. That's all we got for you for now, but don't worry because we'll catch up with you pretty soon in the next marvelous video. Ta-ta for now, and see you real soon.